a lot of odd ones. I'm going to stick to the swing world. I'll show you one straight pattern, but the other patterns are just really simple. You're taking the same thing, like I was doing this. Okay. Obviously, there's a skip beat that we can add in there. And when you do the skip beat, don't feel like you have to do it the whole time. Personally, I think it's better if you leave it out. You know, and build. Just add it in there a little bit at a time and then pull it back out. Don't just sit there. It seems like that becomes a really robotic sound after a while. If there's going to be a drummer in the band, then try to do something that feels natural. Don't do something that's programmed. Otherwise, you're going to just sound like a drum machine. And a drum machine might even sound better if that's the kind of thing we're going for. So, be a drummer, don't be a drum machine. Next thing is just take this sort of thing and we can turn it into a ballad. Now, the thing with a ballad is that typically the ballad is half the speed that we're going for this, actually it's the other way around. The ballad is going to be double timed sounding. So what I mean by that is when we're playing this, we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4. When we're doing a ballad, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. So the faster we go, the more we want to stay away from this sort of sweeping back and forth thing. The faster we go, the more we want to get circular, and the tighter the circle gets, then the more it's this sort of sweeping back and forth kind of twitchy thing. Okay, so if we're going to do a ballad, we are doing, I'll do it really slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that the more I make a circular pattern, the better it's going to sound. And I'm doing this sort of kind of thing, doing that. That way I'm getting that accent with that little bit of push that I'm doing. All right, so if we're doing this sort of thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, then guess what? It's going to be really fast. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. And sometimes 2 and 4 is on top, and sometimes it's on bottom here. If I'm trying to do things with logic, and I'm doing 2 and 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, then my 2 and 4 should be here also doing this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Right? And I'm also, doing that. Getting that little snap. That little snap in there, that's what makes it sound like it should. So those are the little things about playing brushes that I think are important. There's definitely other little patterns. You know, that little thing is good for up tempo. It's sort of like a relief pattern, because doing this, you know, that can get tiring. I like the way that sounds, but you know, if you feel like, okay, for 8 bars I'm going to rest and I'm going to do this. That sounds really nice. Okay, so anything other than that would be going into more of a straight pattern. Once we start getting really fast, we get into sort of a bossa nova thing where it's like right? And to me, that's like the easiest thing in the world to do. It takes a little time getting to where that is going to sound just right, and the rest is just playing with your hand. And you know, doing this kind of thing that I saw Joe Morello do, kind of hitting it like that. You know, you know, anything like that is going to sound good. Just really, you know, keep it simple. Whether you hit, kind of get that kind of thing, or you just have to experiment with it. I'm not hitting really hard. It's just light. I'm just kind of flicking the back of my hand, rolling it, you know, whipping it out, getting a little sound like that, and that kind of stuff. That little trick is pretty easy. You're just, so I'm just taking this brush, hitting right here. This is the contact point, the rim, and it has a lot to do with this brush that I'm using. This is a Regal Tip by Calato, and I do not know which model this is, but it's got a really loose brush. When I first got these, I didn't like them. I couldn't get a sound out of them because they're so light. But I realized what I was doing wrong was pressing too hard, and I also had these Jeff Hamilton brushes that had really, really stiff wires. They would barely bend, and they were really loud. And when I would play with them, people were like, "Wow, even your brushes are loud." So, you know, you have to experiment with different equipment when you're playing drums, and that's how you're going to build your technique. But anyway, that's all I have for now. I really appreciate you guys checking out my video. Please hit like and subscribe. It'll really help me out. What will really also help is you leaving some any kind of comment you wish. You know, I love when you guys leave jokes. Those are great too. And a lot of these comments are not only, you know, for me, but they help anybody else who's going to watch this video. So anything constructive really helps other people learn. We're all doing this sort of thing. These videos are free because it's all about everybody trying to pull together and learn how to get better at drums.